Behind the Shades.
Are you helping them to understand that it's okay to be afraid of the unknown, but maybe it might be better than staying in something that is toxic to you?
That is one of the first conversations we actually have on the first session. It's the fact that it is scary. And the only difference between me, who now is a relationship coaching after having undergone tons of challenges in relationship and having learned from them, the only difference is that I still have fears. I just move past them because I know that I had made it through the challenges before. So for somebody who is just about to venture out of their comfort zone, it can feel quite paralyzing. So this is the concept that needs to be, I believe, in a society in general, collectively, it should be highly promoted. Not the expensive wedding with a beautiful dress till death do us part thing, but this flexibility. Nothing in nature stays static, nothing. We have seasons, we have winter, we have summer. If you look at the nature, there's nothing that stagnates. What happens to this water that's stagnant water? It gets smelly and green, right? So this is the analogy I give to my clients when they are fearful about coming out of their comfort zone, right? Because the flowing water, the flowing energy brings fresh opportunities and open doors into your life. But it is a tough one. It's one of the toughest challenges to get people to step out of the comfort zone.
So what are some of the commonalities that maybe prevent men from making that leap forward and finding a successful relationship, especially with someone that they feel can grow and continue to grow together?
In the case of men, when I coach men, one of the biggest issues is fear of rejection. And this is a tough one that we have to work on. However, there are very deep roots for this rejection fear. It's not just women. I'm pretty good looking. I've been approached by many guys, and I've never been a rude, mean, call to them. I would be just saying, thank you for the effort, not interested, whatever my situation is, right? So I wasn't rejecting them brutally. And yet 99.9% of men that I talk to or I coach, they're afraid of what if she doesn't like me? What if her friends see me rejecting me? However, rejection, I just wrote a blog post on my website. Rejection is simply a redirection. Every rejection you experience gets you closer to your genuine connection to your compatible partner. So I always tell men, and I give them tasks and homework, seek out rejection. Get to the point where you want to get rejected, because then, guess what? Fear loses its power. There's no longer any fear behind getting rejected. Because rejection, it's theoretical. The world keeps on spinning, right? If somebody says no, it's nothing personal. It's simply that this woman at this given day, for whatever her personal reasons, she doesn't see herself getting connected to you. And that's okay. We're not meant to like or connect to every single person. That would be possible, right? So it's perfectly okay. But there's still a lot of the fear around the going over the rejection. And unfortunately, the movements like the feminism and the Me Too movements made it even harder in the society for men to truly deconstruct, like how to approach a woman, how not to hurt her feelings, how not to be perceived a certain way. There are ways to do it. This is what I teach men, practical steps. Thankfully, I'm a woman myself, so I know what works, but anxiety over rejection is really big challenge to overcome.
I know for some of my friends, that's probably one of the hardest parts when it comes to approaching a woman. And many of them, they've turned to different ways to kind of ease the the rejection process or the anxiety of it, right? Or maybe sometimes the embarrassment, because I've seen some of my friends get rejected in some of the most horrific ways. And online is pretty easy because it's just if she doesn't match with you, she doesn't match with you, right? There isn't anything
Yeah.
public. Where some other times they may go to a club where it's nice and dark, and they'll wait for the girl to go down maybe closer to the washroom where it's like that dark section, then the light of the bathroom. Then they're like, Irena, I'll see you from afar. How do you? They'll do something like that, right? So if you're to tell me no, for example, no one else sees, right? And I remember a time where I was speaking to a woman and I was telling her, this is my scenario here. I'm trying to figure out women. I'm trying to understand how I can be more successful. This was when I was much younger, my 20s. And she said, this is the type of men that she likes. So I began to understand what women look for. And then when I went back to some of my male friends, they didn't understand what women were looking for. They got caught up in, well, women only want the 3 6s, right? 6 figures,
Nope.
6 feet, and 6 inches.
I know, right?
Right? And I'm like, well, there probably are women that want that, but they're not the majority. They're just a very loud minority. So how do you help men kind of overcome some of the stigma of dating and maybe some of the myth that is out there when it comes to what women actually want?
I give them some real life examples. There actually were a couple instances when I was doing group coaching when I was still back in Europe. I actually taken a group out to the club and I would teach them to pay attention to the body language, when to approach, whether she's approachable, whether she's available to talk to you. So those type of things. But I was also pointing out when there were couples, I was pointing out to the fact that from a kind of an external perception, when it seems like she looks a 10 and he looks, I don't really like these numbers, but just for the comparison's sake, she looks a 10 and he looks maybe a 6. So this is just kind of a way to point out to men that, listen, this is possible because they are in a relationship. They are together here for whatever reason they are together. So there is a connection, right? There is a connection. So the 3 6s, maybe it happens in the Barbie movie. I don't know. It's not really a real life. And this is the trouble that we all have to deal with. I think most of us have gotten the relationship model out of the movies, which is a far cry from the reality, because taking our parents who were not necessarily equipped to have a healthy relationship, and then you've got this movies where everything is perfect. How do you know where is this delicate, middle ground where everything works? So I tell men that self-worth, self-love comes first, and you radiate different energy. Confidence, you're not born with confidence. Confidence is a learned skill. This is a big actually perception that many men have. There's like, well, he's confident, he can talk to any woman he wants. But I go, no, you can actually do certain practical steps. You can say certain things. You can present your body language a certain way. You can dress a certain way to be perceived confident. It's a learned skill, totally learnable. I've seen it. So getting equipped with these skills is something that is absolutely crucial to go and get closer to your ultimate goal, finding the connection and then hopefully companionship.
It's taken me, and I hope no one shames me for saying this, it has taken me 10 years to get the type of confidence you just described. And it's taken me 10 years of stuttering, of failing, of, I don't know what I'm going to say. Because as you mentioned, it's not something that is injected into every male baby and says, okay, when you're going to be 18 years old, it's activated. We have to learn it. How do you help your male clients learn to be confident enough to approach women, as well as not to get too hung up on if she says no?
The first thing we actually have to do, we actually need to uncover the roots where this lack of confidence is coming from. Unfortunately, in majority of societies, men are raised the way that they're not supposed to be showing their emotions, they're not supposed to cry, they're supposed to be this and that, and men are supposed to be maintaining a certain facade, just like I was supposed to maintain my strong Ukrainian woman facade. God forbid somebody thinks, I thought I needed help or I was weak. So it's kind of a similar situation. So once the roots of this lack of confidence or anxiety over the rejection uncovered, then we address it. And validating yourself through somebody else's opinion is something that probably lives within most of us. And what you said, like you struggled, you tried, you failed, and you kept trying. This is essentially how you get anywhere. You keep going regardless of how you feel about it. And it gets easier and easier and easier. That's why I can't emphasize enough. I use these words a lot, learned skill. Just when we want to get a job, we prepare for it, right? Like we go to the interview, we dress a certain way, we rehearse in front of the mirror, we want to be our best. We learn a skill. We already have a resume, a CV with certain qualifications, we're prepared for the most part. Yet, when it comes to finding love, it's just assumed it's just going to magically poof and happen. But it doesn't happen. You have to go in prepared. Like you have to know how to listen. Almost nobody has listening skills. It's puzzling. You have to know how to touch, what to pay attention to. And when you have all of this, this is where the confidence comes from. And guess what? Confidence in a man for a woman, number one, aphrodisiac. Women get attracted not to six-pack, they get attracted to confidence. They get attracted to emotional availability. Emotional availability is something in a man is something that not so easy to find due to all the social stigmas and ways the men are brought up that I mentioned earlier. So a lot of it is internal work and rewiring the mindset. So men can just go in with taking the practical steps, having the right mindset, and then keep trying and finally succeeding.